lucky enough to have, have worked across various product categories, various functions, various organizations.
Right.
Apart from that, in India, large number of organizations, have their pseudo silos and pseudo KPIs across different functions.
Hmm.
Now, a strong statement which I'm trying to make, some of the fundamentals, principles on which, we all have been working internally and externally on marketing has been a farce.
Mhm.
Now we all know that STP is something which has been one of the fundamental way of approaching a marketing problem.
Welcome to Icons Behind Brands, where we delve into the mindset of marketing leaders shaping today's industry. Hi, this is Devlina, your host, and with a very promising guest on Icons Behind Brands today. We are happy to host Mr. Bineet Kumar, a seasoned marketing leader with over 14 years of experience, worked in companies like Zydus Wellness, P&G, and more, currently serving as a category head for oral care at Dabur. Join me to welcome Mr. Bineet here on Icons Behind Brand. Very warm welcome to you, Bineet here.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for your kind words. So I started with P&G, Procter and Gamble, worked across
Lovely.
all the 12 categories.
Mhm.
Then I worked, with Coty, which is a global leader in fragrances and beauty.
Okay.
Then I moved to Zydus Wellness,
Mhm.
which has brands both from their company and the acquired company of Kraft Heinz. And my current assignment, I'm working with Dabur
Okay.
as a category head, marketing for oral care.
Lovely. So, how did your experience in sales, trade marketing, and you have worked in brand management across different industries such as FMCG, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals? So that has shaped your approach towards marketing and business strategies.
So, see, I think the fundamental aspect of being a successful marketer is that you need to grow the brand profitably and sustainably. And in
Right.
order to do that, you need various skill sets. It starts from understanding sales to understanding consumer to understanding media to understanding trade to understanding shopper, and most importantly, to build your financial acumen. All these
Right.
things put together would help you deliver your KPIs as a brand custodian or as a brand leader for the company. I think I was lucky enough to have worked across various product categories, various functions, various organizations, which has helped me, in understanding and getting things done.
Right.
Apart from that, in India, large number of organizations, have their pseudo silos and pseudo KPIs across different functions. Now,
Mhm.
if you have worked across, many other functions, you would understand the pain point and understand their KPI. And if you understand that, then it becomes all the more important, that you are able to successfully collaborate and give solutions.
What are the fundamental marketing strategies that have you constantly you have been observing to be an effective market leader, regardless of any sector?
Now, a strong statement which I'm trying to make, some of the fundamentals, principles on which we all have been working internally and externally on marketing has been a farce. Let
Okay.
me give you an example of one of the favorite marketing principle which we all use, which is STP, which is
Okay.
segmentation, targeting, and positioning.
Positioning. Mhm.
Now we all know that STP is something which has been one of the fundamental way of approaching a marketing problem.
Okay.
Now STP technically assumes that among all the consumers, there is a differentiated segment, or rather I would say a heterogeneous segment of consumers
Mhm.
who had any specific need which the product can fulfill that exclusively in a very, very defined manner.
Okay.
Now this is a flawed philosophy,
Okay.
which has been, called out by a new world order in marketing.
Okay.
I don't know if you have heard of the World of Baron Sharp and Ehrenberg Bass Institute.
No, I
Now,
haven't.
Ehrenberg Bass Institute is based out of Australia, and they are the
Okay.
only one in the world
Mhm.
who does a lot of research on marketing science, and they
Okay.
come up with empirical laws of brand growth.
Mhm.
Many large amount of MNCs are actually, working with them, and
Mhm.
they work as a guiding principle in terms of deciding about, different aspects of marketing and different aspects of brand growth.
Mhm.
Now, what they say fundamentally is that all consumers are actually homogeneous set of consumers who do not think of brand very differently, competing brands very differently, and
Mhm.
who are those people who buy your brand maybe once, maybe twice, or maybe more number of times.
Mhm.
And that is a fundamental shift in thinking of, an STP approach versus a market based asset approach, which is what, Baron Sharp,
Okay.
and Ehrenberg Bass talks about, which
Mhm.
basically says that the fundamental reason of, or the fundamental way to grow your brand is by building the mental and physical availability. That is the term
Okay.
which they have coined, which they
Okay.
have been talking about. And I think in the world of marketing, that is what a lot of people are also talking about.
Mhm.
Now, in other very simpler words, mental and physical availability is nothing but easier to mind and easier to find. If you are
Easier
able
to
to get your
mind
brand
and
to,
easier to
and
find.
easier to find.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
are able to get your brand to the memory at the buying occasion,
Okay.
that is when the brands will get selected. And
Awesome.
when you are actually at that opportunity of buying the product, how prominently the product is visible, is available, and is, making a sense at that particular buying occasion. That's what the
Lovely.
physical availability talks about.
Lovely. So difference in storytelling approaches in traditional TV commercial advertising versus the modern platforms, the digital platforms like YouTube and so on. So what are the difference between that, and how as a marketer you adapt that message accordingly?
The first thing is that advertisements are actually nuisance to consumers.
Okay.
When they are watching a content, they don't want to see any advertisements.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental thing which people have to understand. Advertisements would technically give them time when they can look at their phone, they can do a chit
Mm,
chat, they can eat something, and they
that's
can
a
go out
break.
and go and take a break. Which basically means that if your advertising or if your storytelling is not entertaining enough and it is not emotional enough, it will not get lodged. First of all, it
Okay.
will not get any attention. And after it gets attention, it will not get lodged into long-term memory. The
Correct.
other fundamental way in which, the brain sees an ad. So
Mm-hmm.
brain does not see an ad or do not recall or do not remember an ad like a video camera.
Okay.
They record an as like a still camera. One shot
Okay.
out, one shot out, one
Okay.
shot out. That's what you remember in your mind.
Hmm,
So
that's
at
nice
that one
insight.
shot and at each frame, if the message is articulated in a way which will register,
Mm-hmm.
and that is where the effectiveness of storytelling comes in.
Oh, lovely.
Now, coming back to the whole aspect of traditional medium, which is the television, and
TV.
YouTube, which is sort of a digital medium, I
Mm-hmm.
think they both operate very differently. Now, when it comes to traditional medium, it is for the masses, it is for appointment viewing, it is for consumption of the content with people, with family, with others.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to YouTube, the premise is very different. It is an individualistic consumption. It
Mm-hmm.
is consumption which is, in your own comfort space, in your own control. And of course, when it comes to digital, you have little more control when it comes to escape button, because obviously you have more flexibility and
Yeah,
you have
you have the
more ease to do
controls.
that.
Okay.
Basically says that on an average for a 30-second TV, you get an attention of around 10 to 12 seconds.
Okay.
For a typical YouTube, you don't get attention more than 3 to 4 seconds. For a Facebook
Hmm.
feed, it is less than 2 seconds.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
means that if you are designing the advertisement for YouTube,
Mhm.
you have to ensure that your brand is being seen in the first few moments, and the storytelling in digital is not that, so traditional television have a storytelling in which you have time to build a plot, you will take a climax, and then you will enter the brand in a matter of few seconds. For YouTube, you have to enter it at
Yeah.
that point in time. In the first instance, you have to surprise, you have to move your emotion to get the attention for that particular consumer.
How the media mixes have changed, or whether it if it has changed in in television, TV commercials, and in the digital distributions. So if you guide us on that.
Many times, marketers struggle to, show that impact, in terms of numbers. If I
Hmm.
do this ad, then how will that sales, go up? In while all this is happening, something called digital marketing has come into the picture.
Hmm.
Now, digital marketing actually gives you a lot more granularity than a television,
Hmm.
which you can see, which you can measure, which you can talk about, and which you can feel proud of. And
Yes.
as a result of that, there is a lot of money which is moving into digital marketing,
Hmm.
because people are figuring out that, if I spend X amount of money, I would know how many clicks I'm going to get. TV remains a large medium in terms of, the spend. However, if you have heard a wonderful set of, researches she has done for Magic Numbers, basically
Hmm.
says that in order to grow the brand, you need to do television. You
Okay.
can't grow the brand by digital marketing.
By just YouTube ads
And
and
the
all.
fundamental is very simple, that when you are doing a digital marketing,
Hmm.
somebody is already there with an intention to buy something. Consideration has already been done. At the end of the day, when you are seeing any commercial on a television versus a YouTube, now, a television, when you see it on a television, you would see the kind of mileage a brand would get on in terms of a screen.
Hmm.
The visual
Yes. Yes.
representation,
Yes.
the music quality, the attention, etc., is of a very different genre when it comes to a YouTube or any sort of a digital thing. Because
Hmm.
first of all, it is not a brand controlled environment. While a small portion of the screen would have your brand video playing, and then
Hmm.
around there are a lot of other distractions that would be playing,
Right.
which is much likely to distract you, and hence the effort which the brand is putting to get the attention
Hmm.
is reduced when it comes to a digital medium versus a television.
Got. Working with Dabur, how have you seen the marketing strategies evolve in your industry over the past few years? And what are the key drivers behind these particular changes?
So a
Right.
lot of focus on performance marketing and a lot of focus on harvesting the demand which is already there,
Okay.
and there is not much effort in building future demand. No,
Okay.
a large amount of these startups, when they start, they follow a particular cycle. So they come up with a product solution which
Hmm.
currently is not being offered by any big companies, any
Yeah.
big FMCG companies.
Hmm.
And the early adopters of that particular concept latch on to that particular product offering,
Hmm.
and they become the user of the particular product. But what happens after a while, these number of people would actually plateau,
Okay.
and you would not get new consumers because you have not been reaching to new consumers.
Hmm.
You are reaching to these consumers. Hence, most of these startup, when they reach a scale, they jump to make a television commercial, because at the
Okay.
end of the day, reach is the most important thing when it comes to
Hmm.
marketing. The
Right.
second fancy what we have today is NPDs. We love launching new products.
Okay.
And the third is basically, it's about the whole aspect of how memory gets built.
Working as a head of marketing, where you're managing teams, you're working with people, also being a team player. So you need a lot of other skills also to perform your role and
Yeah.
to be to justify your role, right? So I want to understand here, how do you empower your team members to take ownership and of for their work and more decisions? So being a leader, how do you manage this part?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the fundamental aspect of taking up ownership comes only when you start enjoying your work,
Okay.
and you enjoy your work only when you are more confident of what you're doing, and because that confidence would help you, give that kind of push that what you're doing is correct. So I, most of the times I ask my team that marketing department is being seen by many other functions as a coloring department,
Okay.
and the same marketing thought and the gyan can be given by anyone else who is not in marketing.
Not in marketing.
And
Okay.
if you want to make a difference between a marketeer and a non-marketeer who thinks he knows marketing, you need to build your capability.
Okay.
And once you start building your capability on things which is very fundamental and very scientific in nature, you would create the difference between somebody who understands marketing by science, by law, through experiments, through empirical evidence, versus somebody who has learned marketing through anecdotes or who think he knows marketing. If you learn
Okay.
about marketing science and if you learn about empirical laws, you would know as a marketeer what strategy to take, whether to launch a brand with a line extension or to launch a brand with a different name. The second thing which I tell them about, that the world is moving towards a very less and less attention,
Yes.
and you are going to have immense pressure to build effectiveness
Yeah.
of whatever you are doing. So learn about how to measure attention, learn about how to make effectiveness led communication, and how to improve that effectiveness. And the third and the most important thing, and my favorite topic basically, is behavioral economics.
Okay.
Behavioral economics as a stream has not got the due what it needs.
Okay.
But with Rory Sutherland and Daniel Kahneman,
Yeah.
I think it's gaining that kind of traction, among many newer generation, people also, because behavioral economics actually talks about, the different biases which people have in human behavior,
Yeah.
which pertains to your consumer, which can pertain to your manager, which can pertain to your multifunctional team.
Learn the subject, understand the science, perfect your science, and then, work on how the consumer behavior is changing towards
Yeah.
the less attention time and how they can grasp it faster, be more creative towards your messaging, positioning, and other things.
Yeah.
Superb. So we will come towards a very different section from here. We are just taking a turn, which is a rapid fire round. And this is more about you. So our viewers and listeners would get to know you as a person a little more. This particular section is one of my favorite, and I really enjoy during this time. The rules are, you need to answer either in one word or maybe, as minimum word as possible. Right. So are we good to go?
Yeah.
So Beneath, what has been your favorite age so far?
I think the duration when I was in my boarding school from 6th standard to 12th standard, that has been the best time.
What is your favorite work memory?
I think when I got a call from P&G to join P&G, it was one of the dream comes true.
Dreams.
And when I joined P&G, that was the best memory which I have. Yeah.
What has changed the most since you have started working here in Dabur?
I think we have little more focused on technology-led, activities. I think our CEO is one of the fantastic, gentlemen when it comes to technology. He is pushing, all of us to move, at a very brisk pace, and I think that has changed.
Super. What advice would you give an employee on their first day of work?
Please go and meet people. That will solve a lot of your things.
If you could not work in this industry, what profession would you pursue?
I would have been in advertising. because I have a creative blend of mind. I would want
Okay.
to would have explored that.
So when are you most productive, Vineet?
When I'm in my gym in the morning.
Mm.
Actually, what happens is that when you're in the gym, then you let your mind flow.
Okay, so I'm also morning gym goer person. So that is the first thing I want to hit and
Great.
then do other thing. What would you change about yourself?
I would want to become a better dancer
Oh,
because my wife is a very good dancer. She's also an actor.
what advice would you give to your younger self?
I think read more because at the end of the day, whatever you are able to read, you are able to get perspectives.
I want you to talk for our aspiring marketing professional, many people. So what advice would you give to an aspiring marketing leaders on their way?
See, one of the things which we all know, which we all have seen, that not many marketeers are actually CEOs. There would
Okay.
be some reasons for that. And I'm sure that is something which I would want to change, and the
Mm-hmm.
change would happen when you're starting young. So when you're starting young, make sure that you learn a lot more. When it comes to marketing, there is enough and more available in the world. Which talks about very very scientific and proven concepts which can be utilized in any framework, whether it is in Indian context or whether it is outside Indian context.
Lovely. I think that's a great point you made, Beneath here. If you are interested in marketing and if you want to become a marketer, just be passionate about what you're doing, and it should reflect on whenever you're talking, you're walking, that feel has to be there. So thank you for being here, Beneath. Thank you for agreeing for this invitation and sharing your insights and experiences with us on Icons Behind Brand. I feel it has really added a lot of value, not only to our viewers and listeners, but to me as well. So a lot of takeaways for me. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So, business folks, how was the video? I'm sure कि आपको ये वीडियो बहुत ही insightful and informative लगा होगा. Let us know in the comment section which part of the video you loved the most. हम ऐसे ही इंडिया के टॉप बिजनेस ब्रांड्स आपके साथ शेयर करते रहते हैं. If you like our effort, we would appreciate by liking and sharing it. And please do not forget to subscribe to it. That's all for today. I'm Devlina Nyogi signing off until next time.